Hello and welcome back to the DayLuna Human Design Podcast. I really have to emphasize welcome back because we have taken a little bit of a hiatus and we are so excited to be back. I've been waiting patiently to connect with you all and to share the stuff that we want to share with you today, and also to hear Shayna's updates that she's going to share with us today, because I mention this every time, but she's so hardcore about literally barely telling me anything about her life transitions until we get on the podcast. So I'm really, really grateful to be here. It's so fun. We have a lot of exciting stuff going on that we're excited to share with you today.
Yeah, it's so funny because I feel like we haven't caught up much. And I was literally thinking this like a few days ago, like, wow, Dana and I really haven't shared that much with each other. And it's because we always save everything for the podcast. And like when we're not doing it, it becomes a problem. I'm like, wait, what's going on in your world? What's happening? And we just save it all for here. So we have so many updates, so many things to share. And our first big update announcement, exciting thing that so many people have been emailing us for, DMing us for, just literally can't wait to do, and we can't wait to do, is a in-person retreat. And we are doing a retreat again. Before Dana gives birth in April, we are doing a retreat in Palm Springs, California, our first US-based retreat. For everyone who's been asking us to have one here, it's finally here, and it's going to be in February, aka a month from now. So if you haven't heard about that from our newsletter, surprise, surprise. If you're feeling called, now's the time. It's happening really quick, and it's happening really, I want to say like, it's just like, boom, it's here. And it's going to be one of those events and experiences that is going to bring that boom, here it is magic into your life. And I'm just so excited about it.
Yeah, me too. And we've been feeling really called to do another in-person training. And this retreat is a advanced in-person training where we are going to be diving into a lot of deeper layers about your personal chart and diving into relationships, partnerships, giving couples readings, understanding human design compatibility and sexuality, relationships, partnerships, and then going into family dynamics, group dynamics, working together as a group or working as a family. So this is really juicy stuff that we feel super excited and passionate to share. We've been getting so many requests for. Honestly, this has been something, relationships specifically have been the thing that we've been most DM'd about recently. People wanting us to create content on it, people asking questions around it. So we're really excited to dive into this advanced coursework. And I think it's just going to be so fun to learn together in this container and to go deep and to explore these really deep themes that you probably haven't heard us or anyone else talk about in any other realm. It's so perfect as we move into this year, 2026, closer and closer to the new paradigm, because obviously such a huge theme in the new paradigm is navigating individual empowerment and individual alignment with collective energy of harmony. And as we get closer to the new paradigm, it's like, how do we bond together with our partner when I'm on this spiritual journey because the world is evolving in this really intense way? How do I meet a partner? How do I work with a business partner or find a business partner when we're both navigating life with our inner authority? And family relationships, right? With Shayna being a mom, with me stepping into my motherhood journey, this is something that we've just been thinking about so much, and we're really excited to nerd out and go deep with you all in person. It's going to be so fun. And the resort that we are going to be doing this retreat at in February is a really easy travel destination. That was one of our big intentions. It's like we want to go deep together and be in this incredibly fascinating coursework vortex, but we also want this retreat to be easeful, connection and collaboration and being able to be together and share together without a ton of travel. So we're actually really excited that the resort that we're going to, it's only a 7-minute drive from the International Palm Springs Airport. So if you're flying in, it's a really easy destination to get to. Also, if you're in Southern California, you can drive to this event. So it's going to be really exciting. We cannot wait.
Yes, this coursework is honestly just feels divinely led and right on time because of this new paradigm like Dana was sharing. And really understanding how we can bond and connect and support one another while still honoring ourselves as individuals is the most important thing we can be doing right now to ensure that we rise into the new paradigm in a way that is loving and connected and reverent of everyone's sovereignty, while still being able to be supported and support other people. So it's important work that we're doing as we are shifting and the collective is changing so much and things are crumbling. The understanding of who we are as individuals and who other people outside of us are and how we interconnect and affect each other is at the core, the heart of rising in this new paradigm versus getting overwhelmed or having it be steered in a way that is not actually supporting our growth and our healing and our evolution as a species. So I'm really excited to be teaching this information with everyone there. And I'm also really excited just to connect in person and to give everyone a hug and to share in the magic that is our retreat containers, because every single time I am absolutely blown away. So yes, if you want to check it out and you want to join us, use your authority. Obviously, if you're not sure how to use your authority, you can listen to one of our many different podcasts on your authority. They're labeled by your authority name. But you have to kind of go back in the archives, like scroll down on the podcast app to find those, because those were in our early days. But use your authority when you're making this decision. And if it is saying yes, it's time to dive in. It's time to just full send and meet us there in a month. And the doors are going to open on January 10th at 10 a.m. Let's just keep it 10:10. So on January 10th at 10 a.m., the doors will be opening and we are so excited. Yeah, 10 a.m. Pacific. We're so excited to see who's going to join us there. And if for some reason the tickets sell out and you're not able to get in on time, email us immediately, because we can work with the hotel to possibly open up some more tickets. So, but it is first come, first serve, and it's based on availability for those. So if that is you and that happens, email us at hello@daylunalife.com and we will see what magic we can work for you. And if it is aligned, it's aligned, baby. So you can check that out at daylunalife.com. All of the details are there, and it's also linked below in the show notes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait. I feel like this is my dream life, that this is happening. And, you know, normally it's been sort of our pattern that we've had a retreat every April, every spring, or around then. And that hasn't been super intentional. It's just been what our strategies and authorities have led us to and kind of what our rhythm has been. But of course, you know, we've been talking about since Egypt, it's like, we love these in-person events. We want to have more of them. And then obviously we can't have one in April because I will be giving birth to a child in April. And that is what we want to come talk about on this episode today. We want to just share the big transitions, the juicy downloads, the big energies that have been happening in our lives, because I feel like both of us, Shayna and myself, in very separate ways, have been on a complete initiation to a new level. And, you know, moving into this year, 2026, it's a really powerful collective year. Obviously, we are 1 year closer to the new paradigm. In the astrology that's happening in 2026, so many of the outer planets are moving and shifting in big ways into zodiac signs that they haven't been in a very long time. And 2025 was a big year of transition too, but there was a lot of movement back and forth and retrogrades. And it's like, we feel like something's happening, but what is it? That's been the energy of 2025. 2026, a lot of that stuff lands and we get initiated into this new realm. Now, when we move into the numerology of 2025, it was a universal 9 year, which is the end of the cycle. From the lens of numerology, life moves in these 9 year cycles of growth. And 2025 was an ending. It was a closure. So that is a very spiritual and inward year. It's a very winter, like you're shedding, you're letting things die off, you're closing closing those cycles. And so it is once again transformative, but it's still very internal and like, where is this all taking me? And then in 2026, we are moving into a collective 1 year where we are having a completely fresh start. We are being able to jumpstart off and create an entire new path for us. And the energy of that is very external. It has a lot of natural movement in it and creativity and inspiration. So I just feel like all of us here have been in this crucible of initiation and transformation in some way. And Shayna and I have been really excited to share with you our personal stories and the things that have been going on for us. But we have been waiting to share that because Shayna has been in Europe, which a lot of you know, and you're like, I want to hear how it's been for Shayna. I want to hear what was going on. I want to hear her experience. So we're going to share that today in this episode. And I also wanted to share with you about my pregnancy and my conception journey because I really haven't had a chance to be able to share it with you all. And a lot of stuff I haven't even shared with Shayna, as I said in the beginning, because we literally make ourselves wait like psychopaths, which I do love and I'm here for it. And it is really fun and exciting. But yeah, that moment is here to dive in.
Yeah. So I'm dying. I need to know,
the whole story.
Start from the beginning. The start.
Where do we start? I know for both of us, I feel like the transitions that we've been going through have been so big that like coming to this podcast where we want to share it with each other and with you all, it's like, where do we even start? You know, because if we're talking about that 9-year cycle, honestly, that is wild to me because I feel like my conception journey almost started in that 9-year cycle when I was just married with Jared and we were newlyweds, you know, like in that time of our lives, especially actually when we very first met, because we were together for a few years before we got married. But when we first met, we were like, let's make a baby. Like just our biology in and of itself, we just recognized in each other that we were like, I want to make a baby with you. And I would literally wake up from my sleep in the middle of the night and be like, I want to have a baby with you. And we were like, we have to like pause this. We have to live our lives. We have to get to know each other. We want to travel the world. We have all of these things that we want to do. We want to really feel like we know who we are as individuals before we move into parenthood. So we like always knew that we wanted to have a kid together, but we also definitely put the brakes on it for so many years, you know, and then being married now for a decade and being able to do all of the things that we wanted to do, like really find who we are on our own paths and create businesses that help us live our purpose and travel the world. We literally had like a list of places that we wanted to go travel to in the world before we had kids. And then we have a list that's like of places that we could see ourselves going with a kid, but we did all of that. And so honestly, like where to even begin with this story? It's like so long for me and so drawn out. And, you know, the big thing that I wanted to share with my conception journey was really like how challenging it was for us to actually make this decision, even though in the beginning, a decade ago, or like at the beginning of this 9-year cycle, we felt so confident on a soul level that this is what we wanted to do. But as we gave ourselves more time and the world has changed and shifted in the way that it has, like that was, you know, before I discovered human design, before I knew I was a projector, before my dad passed away, before a lot of my intuitive gifts or spiritual awakenings or awareness about myself happened. And it was a time, and I want to say like an easier time where the old paradigm wasn't crumbling as much as it is now in our face. And so moving into closer to making this decision, you know, like in the last 5 years or so, I would say it's just been it was a really challenging decision for us because it's like the way that the world is and the way that things are changing and looking at the future. Like I feel like we just asked ourselves so many existential questions about life itself. Like we went freaking deep and did so much shadow work when we were making this decision, because it's like, at the end of the day, I was asking Jared, like, if you could reincarnate right now, knowing everything you know about your life and about how life feels as you in this body, like, would you do it? And immediately he was like, yeah, of course. And for me, honestly, where I was when I asked that question, I was like, I don't know if I would, because life is hard sometimes. And the future is scary sometimes. And being in a body and experiencing loss and experiencing physicality feels painful to me sometimes. And it was really interesting that like making that decision made me move through all of my own darkness and like face all of those darknesses together in such a deeper way, which is really interesting because I feel like in general, I'm a really positive person, but my theme in the last like few years has been navigating shadow, integrating my shadow, like going deeper in that. And ultimately, I do feel that it's made me a more joyful person to integrate my shadow, to know my shadow more deeply and to move through that darkness. But it's just so interesting how for me, a lot of the karmic lessons in my life were about choosing to conceive a child and when. And there was just so much like fear around that and pressure around that. And I also I talk about this a lot before, but the Aquarius rising in me literally used to get so pissed when people would be like, when are you guys having a baby? When are you guys having a baby? To me and Jared all the time. And I was like, is that the only value that you see in me? Like, what about all of the other things I'm using my creative energy on? And it's so funny how I am like making this big stand around like women don't have to have a baby in order to be valuable. It is not the only use of our creative energy, like standing on 10 toes on that. And then of course, like I'm the first one of my siblings to have a baby. And I was the same with marriage, by the way. I'm like, you do not have to be married in order to be in a happy relationship or to create a family. Like marriage is a scam that the government talks us into. And then I'm the first one of my friends to get married. So like really hypocritical in those senses, but still like it is still something so profound in me that it was like, I don't want to make this decision out of conditioning or out of pressure. Like I want to know that I went all the way to the very bottom of my core, of my shadow, of everything within me to know that I'm making this decision out of truth and out of alignment and like really checking in of like, where is that conditioning or that pressure or those old stories still there? So anyways, I feel like for the last couple of years while we've been like making this decision about when, we've been like really going through it. And a lot of like other things in life have been really challenging with our parents getting older and navigating like that other side of life and, you know, being both entrepreneurs and wanting to have stability that you need when you create a family, like in this economy, but us both being, you know, living our passions and really trusting that flow. So anyways, the big thing that I wanted to say for my conception journey was just how challenging it was and how so much of the karmic initiation was making that decision. And then kind of comes in Egypt, us going to Egypt. And it was right before we decided to go that I was like, I just had this download feeling like, okay, if we're doing this, it's like we need to actually decide a day. And so Jared and I had been talking about it. Like, okay, when would we actually want to conceive? And like, if we're doing this, like what does it really mean for us? And like, out of all of the fears that we have, what are the things that are the positives and are the love and are the truth? And like, instead of making a decision out of fear, making a decision out of soul and out of knowing. So all of that was happening. And then Shayna literally calls me and she's like, okay, well, I think that we should go to Egypt or what was the time that it was going to work was like January. And I was like, well, that's literally, I'm planning on being pregnant then. And you were like, wait, what? And I was like, yeah, so we have to go some other time. And so a lot of choosing the timing for Egypt and literally the only time that worked it was so interesting. It was like so much of the timing of that experience, because we planned it in such a short amount of time, it was wild timing, but it honestly feels like the most divine timing in my personal life path. Like I feel like going there was a huge part of my conception journey and of solidifying this plan and the timing going hand in hand. And so when we went to Egypt for Jared and I, our big intention, like we had already kind of gone through and looked at the year ahead and decided like when we wanted to start trying to conceive. But our intention with Egypt was to get clarity on that. Like, okay, this is what we think we want to do. When we go to Egypt, we really want this to land for us. Like we want to know that this is what's right for us. And so going there, I mean, it's just so wild because I feel like it definitely 100% was what solidified our knowing and helped all of the stars align. And I always say, like, I have this metaphor for us with our conception journey because it was so long and like drawn out that it reminds me of like seeing stars and planets moving through the night sky over years of time. And it's like takes years and years for Saturn to move into a new zodiac, for example. And it's like, it was like watching these stars move slowly and retrograde back and move slowly and retrograde back. And then finally, when we went to Egypt, it was like, finally, literally the stars aligned. Like it was just that cosmic moment. And we did end up getting all of the clarity that we needed to know that it was right for us in Egypt. But it's wild because it took time coming home to actually integrate that and to know that for me. So it's like we did get the initiations, the downloads, the like cellular upgrades to be like, okay, this is the alignment. But it wasn't until we got home and I had like a month or two to integrate that I really knew that we had gotten that confirmation.
Wow. It's just so crazy because we would be going to Egypt right now in January.
Yep. Well, I'm 6 months pregnant.
Yeah, which is just so insane. And doing it in April, it just all the stars aligned, like everything fell into place, which was always a sign for us, like, okay, let's just keep going. But it is just so crazy how Egypt was such a huge part of your conception journey, and it was a huge part of my conception journey too.
Totally.
Which is just really cool, seeing the energies that are wanting to come in at play for such big themes in our life, right? Like losing our fathers during our Saturn return, and the journeys that we've gone through before that transition. And it's just really crazy how our lives are always paralleled, but also completely opposite.
Yeah.
All the time.
At the same time, like parallel, and at the same time polarized.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So you got the clarity in Egypt, but only after you came back and you were integrating. And it's crazy that you were getting that clarity and I was there with my 9-month-old. Yeah. And like you're seeing that side of parenting, like the real side through your best friend's life. And just crazy how it was just the themes every time I've gone to Egypt, though, twice, has been like
so much
fertility, motherhood, spirit baby. And that's a huge theme in Egypt, right?
Which is so profound because I feel like where we are in California and in the United States, like a lot of our spirituality, I feel like has left out conscious conception and has left out motherhood in general. And of course, there's the remnants of a lot of spiritual, like depth that in Christianity and Catholicism and stuff like that you're like born from original sin. And so there's this like dirtiness around creating a child. Like even though I wasn't raised Christian, there was still kind of like the echoes of those shadows being promoted in the stories, to where like, if you were pregnant, there's still like this funny shadow around it, or people, you know what I mean? Like there's just not this like sacred energy that is taught to us around conscious conception. So it's so beautiful going to Egypt, and like every single temple there has, almost every single one has some part of it, like some corner or some space that is for fertility, conception, people coming there to call in their spirit baby or to literally have their child. And so I just feel like the codes of Egypt, of ancient Egypt, are really helping us heal that wound and remember the sacredness of conception, conscious conception, connecting with your spirit baby intentionally before they come to this earth. And of course, all of the spirit babies that are coming in and wanting to be born right now, so close to this new paradigm and in this shift that we're in, they call to their, they work with ancient Egypt and Mother Egypt to call to their parents to go there and to experience that magic. Like, I just think it's such a profound thing that the world really needs. And so if anyone's listening and you feel that call to Egypt, or even to like learn about Egypt or read books about it, I definitely feel like there's a huge wisdom code that's reawakening in a lot of us there around parenthood.
Yeah, for sure. I already am like, I can't wait to go back. I can't wait to go back. And I know that we will. I'm just like
When?
really trusting the timing, the divine, the stars aligning, like you said. Okay, so you got back and you got and you were integrating all the things, and then you were just like, okay, now's the time.
Well, we had decided that we were going to start trying in June. But when we got back, I felt like I was still integrating from Egypt. You know, like the main thing that I think really like shifted me was the Temple of the Hathors, the Dendera. Like I had this huge experience there where my whole body was just like, I feel like everything inside of me shifted and I healed in this really big quantum way. But when I was there, I was sobbing and shaking and like literally, you guys, sobbing, like, could not control it. It was such a powerful experience, but I didn't mentally know like what it was. Like there's that soul feeling of being like, I've had lifetimes here before. Like I feel like this is a healing experience, but like not really being able to name it or understand it. So I feel like it took months actually for me to allow that cellular upgrade to move through my body. And so when we got to June, the day that we had decided to start trying, months, like 6 months before that or 7 months before that, it just still didn't really feel right. Like it just didn't feel right. And it's so interesting. Like with getting married, I always tell people like, I did not have a shred of doubt about getting married. I knew with 100% clarity that this is what was going to make me happy. And I was like, I wouldn't have gotten married if I had 10% doubt or 5% doubt or 1% doubt. That's just how I am. And so with conceiving, I felt the same. Like, I don't want to be 80% sure or 90% sure. Like I want to feel like 100% alignment in this moment. So anyways, we got to June. It was just like, it didn't feel right. And we're like, okay, like maybe that means that we're not supposed to do this at the end of this. Like, I don't know. We'll just have to like let go of this mental plan that we made so many months ago and just start listening. So like every day after that, Jared and I just like decided to sit down in meditation together and to meditate with our spirit baby. And we've been doing that for a few years actually, but doing it like every single day and being like, we're listening. Like we're done putting dates in a chart calculator and seeing like what month would be good and what, you know, all of those things. And we're just going to start listening. And literally within a month after that, I just started to have all of these signs and symbols and feelings and this huge shift of like, all of that fear that I was talking about in the beginning and darkness, like I really just started to feel it leave my body. And as I integrated the experience in Dendera, a big part of it was like, I like to say I healed my homesick alien baby inside of me. Like I felt like there was this part of me that was like a homesick baby that felt like I don't belong on earth. And going there, like it was like the first time in such a powerful way that I felt like I'm home and like I belong. And this is a part of like where my soul is meant to be. And I just was able to release so much of that fear and start moving into the joy frequencies of parenthood, the love frequencies. And like in that 1 month from June to July, because July is when we ended up conceiving, I had felt such a profound shift inside of me that like we started to just think about what we really like about parenthood and about teaching and how much love we both have to give and how much we love our families, and thinking about expanding love in our lives and expanding the ability to teach and expanding family. And it just started to feel like more and more right. So anyways, in July, I started having all of these dreams from our spirit baby and just kind of like knew, like, I think that the time is now. But also I wanted a girl so freaking badly. Like this is a psycho part of me, but also I just feel like I always knew that it was right for me to have a girl. Like even 5 years ago when I first did our ayahuasca journey, I had an experience of giving birth. And in the moment I'm like, is it a boy or a girl? Like in my, ayahuasca medicine experience. And they were like, it doesn't matter. It's just a glowworm soul. Like it doesn't matter if it's boy or girl. I was like, okay. But then I saw this like chain of mothers and daughters coming together and linking together. So it's like, I knew that there was like this daughter energy even without really knowing. So one of the big things for me was like, for the last year of my life, I've been testing my ovulation and tracking my temperature and all of the things because I wanted to try for a girl. And so when we got to July, we started getting all this clarity. And like, there was the day that was like the few days before my ovulation where I was like, okay, if we try right now, it will be a girl. But I like to say that it was more like allowing instead of trying. But literally the very first time that we allowed her spirit baby energy to come through, she did. And we both knew that she did. And we had been listening to this really amazing, like tantric conscious conception teacher about the moment of your conception and how the energy that you're in that day is such a powerful energy that acts as like the final and last beacon that your child's frequency will connect to or resonate with. And so in that day, it's really important to be joyful and to have freedom or whatever the energies are that you want your child to be able to level with or resonate with, to be in those energies. And so honestly, it was like the most beautiful and special day of our lives, like out in nature and the sunshine and the water and the trees and like just the most beautiful energy. And so anyways, that's the day that we made our baby, and what is a girl, which I literally fell to my knees sobbing. Once again, I'm so dramatic when I found out it was a girl because I was so happy. And literally since like the moment that we conceived, like we knew that second. So like even, you know, it takes like a couple of weeks before you miss your first period and you can do your testing, whatever. I had all of these super profound dreams, like where I just got confirmation. Like I knew that we were pregnant and I knew that she was there. I just knew. And so I literally like tried to test my pregnancy test before I even missed my period. And it's like, no, you're not pregnant. And I was like, oh, well, it's just because it's too soon. And then it was. But anyways, so since that moment, honestly, I feel so grateful for my path, and the shadow work that we did traversing this decision was so worth it, because now the second that we conceived, we shifted into this frequency around parenthood of so much joy and so much love and so much beauty. And it feels like such a special blessing in our relationship, Jared and I. Like, we've just been married for 10 years now, so we're kind of in this new cycle, and being pregnant together, it's been the most beautiful and special and sweet and profound and joyful experience to be pregnant together. I think because we did all of that shadow work beforehand, it's like for years we were like in the trenches of it. Like, are we doing this? Like plagued by the decision. And then now that we've been here, it's just been so beautiful and special. And we went to Bali to celebrate our 10-year wedding anniversary, and we booked the tickets like 2 weeks before we conceived. So we're like, well, guess I'm gonna be pregnant in Bali for my first trimester for like a month while we're traveling there, which was also really special and really cool. And I feel like, you know, the places that you go when you're pregnant, like with you and Isla, Shayna, she had you go to Mexico twice while you were pregnant. And I'm like, she wanted to swim in the cenotes and get that medicine. So it's like the places that you go, I feel like are so connected to the energy that your spirit baby wants you to be in as they are growing inside of you.
Yeah, which is just so crazy. It's so crazy because we're so different and we're so the same that I'm like, as I'm listening to this, obviously, and I think everyone listening, if they have a child or not, you know, is relating to it and to your story through whatever, you know, resonates with them and their own life experiences. And especially if they have children and they've gone through the journey of conception, and even making that decision, or if they've decided not to have children, right? Like there's just so many themes that you've shared that I think are really relatable and helpful in knowing that, you know, it's just such a profound and big decision that angers me when people write off as like, women have been giving birth for thousands and thousands of years. Like, it's just what women do. It's what we do as a species. Like, it's no big deal. Like, just because it happens every day, all day,
yes,
doesn't mean that it's any less sacred or like literally a portal of like a soul coming into being, into this physical form, into the 3D world. Like, it is literally magic happening in front of our eyes, and just because it's so common, like everything around us is magic happening in front of our eyes, but like for it to happen so physically in our bodies in this 3D realm, like it literally tears you apart and puts you back together again, a whole different thing on the other side. And it's you're doing the same thing for the baby. Yeah.
It's death and life. Like as big and massive and spiritually profound is like not even a big enough word as death and life are. That's birth and choosing to move into it, because you as a parent, the life that you knew before does die, and you go through this transition as you welcome in a new life. I've been thinking about that a lot too, Shane. It's so funny that you say that, because for me, it's just the most profound, sacred, magical, like, and all of the things that, like, I've really, really enjoyed the magic of being pregnant and feeling the sacred inside of you in this dark womb that you don't have a conscious awareness of, the divine codes and the DNA that are down in there that are creating this life, but just witnessing it all happen within you as you being the sacred dark womb and you being the portal, but you literally experience the divine within you and the mystery of that. Like, it's just so massive and profound and special and such a big deal. And you're literally choosing to create more life, like, instead of not doing that. So it's so big. And then for people to be like, on the other hand, it's the most basic thing. Like, you just get pregnant and then you have a baby, and like everyone does it. And it's not like the dichotomy or the polarity of how you can look at it in the most sacred and profound way, or how it can just be like the most basic thing that humans, it just happens. Like,
well, and that's the
it
truth
just depends
with everything,
on,
right?
Yeah,
like,
it just
we
depends
can
on
choose
which one.
to see life as a magical, sacred gift that deserves so much reverence and it brings so much beauty into your life, or you can choose to see life as a prison or as, you know, something that's just so basic and boring and not worth your attention. Like, it's all about consciousness and being able to be like privileged enough to be in a time and place where we're able to evolve our conscious awareness to be able to consciously choose and have alignment in like consciously creating new life.
Yeah.
It's huge, right? Like, that's a rare thing that has only more recently come into our species. Well, I want to say it was around more,
like in ancient times.
In ancient times,
people were really aware of how conception and life worked, and I think that people were choosing conscious conception and really intentionally moving into it. And I think that we've just been in a massive, long period of forgetting.
Yeah, and I do think, like, I do want to clarify for anyone listening who's chosen not to have children. Like, we're not saying that it's sacred and divine that you must choose to create more life, and that's the good thing at all. Like, no, the main message is like alignment and clarity and conscious choice, because creation is so sacred and it is so earth shattering. Literally.
And I don't think it's right for everyone. I wasn't sure if it was right for me. That's the point of my story. Like, for me, it was such an important decision that is such a massive challenge and such a big deal that it's like, I really, really, really believe that people must go on this decision consciously, because it's not right for everyone. And if we want to create a beautiful and harmonious and healthy future, we don't need overpopulation and people who have moved into this massive earth-shattering decision because of conditioning. Like, we really don't need that. And I feel like so much of my journey was making sure that I was in integrity in that area, and not, you know, because it's so deep. Like, it's so deep as a woman. Even just like little comments I've gotten my entire life from age 11 years old, my dad's like creepy old friends being like, you have birthing hips and like shit like that. You know what I mean? It's just like so deeply programmed. Or like Jared, like I was saying, Jared and I being married or being in a happy relationship, people are like, so when are you having a baby? And it's like, you don't want to ask me how we're doing. You don't want to ask me about our business. You don't want to ask us about our life purpose. Like, none of those other questions matter. It's just having kids, you know? So it's like on the other side of that, I feel really protective over people's individual empowerment and conscious choice in this area. I think it's crucial that people feel that empowerment and don't feel the pressure.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, and that could lead me down a whole other tangent where I will get on a soapbox, but I'm not going to do it because it's so, it's such an intense journey. And, it's so interesting in my conception, like, not to get into that too much because I've already shared about it on the podcast, but for me, it wasn't not an agonizing, but like a decision that I mulled over for years and years and years, like for you, how you've been sharing, right? For me, it was just like my G center knew it was a knowing. And just like it always has my whole life, like I don't have a choice is how it feels, even though it is my soul choosing and knowing. Like it just feels like I know this is happening. So like get on board and dive in and like yeah, let's fucking go. Like and you're either doing it now or you're doing it later or you're doing it like, yeah. And I'm single definition and
where I'm triple split for everyone listening. So it's like for me to process something, I have to process it on every level, on all levels. I know forever, know to the bottom of the earth and look at it at every single angle.
Depth of consciousness around it. Whereas for me, it's like almost like
you got to figure it out as you go because you already hopped on the train.
It's like I want to say it's like this golden cord outside of me, and it's like like you could strum it like it's an instrument, and it just like bing, plays a note, and it's like that like note is just like singing through that chord, and it's like there's no other note like when it comes to like that part of what knowing. It's like when it comes to kids, like that note has been struck. Like I am on that note, and I'm not gonna like try to like change the key or like try to like I can't, like it's just so I just know, and like the note's been struck. Like I can either fucking sing the song or I can cry about it and like fight it but I'm gonna sing the song. So that's kind of how it feels. It's a weird analogy, but like it just feels like that's been struck, and it's just like, okay, now I'm on board. And I feel that way about my second baby, which so many people have been like the same thing that you're saying. Like there's so many people that are like, okay, where's baby number 2? It's good for them to be close in age, blah, 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 like all the conditioning. And I feel like if my mind had its way, like I would only have one baby. Like that is my mind's choice. But the note has been struck, and it always has been. And my spirit baby has like, I feel them every single day, all day, like knocking on the door. Like it is time. It's time. It's time. It's time. And I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. So it's just so interesting hearing your journey and how different we are, but also at the same time, how profoundly like you knew when she came in and when that moment of conception, like it's just the same. I had the same exact experience of like, you just know like, oh, they're here. And knowing that you're having a girl, everything, just so incredible.
I know. And I feel like that's why it's so powerful for us to share our stories. Jacqueline, who works on our team, she just sent me a book of poetry and affirmations that she wrote around motherhood. And in the book, she included her birth story. And I read it the other morning around coffee. So shout out to that. We'll link it if you guys want to check out her book. It's really beautiful and inspiring and real. And it's like, kind of holding the duality of motherhood, that you can be in joy and pain at the same time. But anyways, reading her birth story, like it's just become my favorite thing to hear about people's birth story, like the real, and also their conception story, the real, because I feel like it helps us to reclaim the fact that we all get to move into these massive life-altering transitions in alignment with our true self. And
if you're privileged enough, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if you're listening to this podcast, like you get to do it your way. You have the tools to strive towards that. And we want to share our stories and share like the differences and share our profound truths, because I feel like it's empowering to know I don't have to move into this in the way that I've seen anyone else move into it. I get to move into it in the way that feels real for me and right for me. And that is one thing I can say about the years years it took for us to get this clarity is like, I'm just so grateful we gave ourselves that time, because the amount of alignment and peace that I feel is like so worth it. And sometimes my design, having emotional wave, having the wave of expectations, or, collective abstract wave, having triple split definition, it annoys me sometimes how long it takes me to find my truth about something, because I cannot rush it. It's like literally you can't rush a river. You can't rush the winter to be over. If there's another storm, there's another storm. You can't fight it. So it's similar to what you were saying, Shayna, of like the note is pluck and you can resist it or you can get on board. I have the same thing in my design, but it's just in such a different way. And I think it's really, really helpful to hear like the real life examples and the real life stories of that, because I feel like, so many people in both of our lives, like our mom, I try to ask my mom all the time about her 2 pregnancies with my brother and I, and she really doesn't remember a lot of the details because nobody asked her. So it's like, did the baby make it? Were you healthy? She's like, yep. Yeah. Like she remembers the big details, like the experience, I'm like, how did you feel? Like, what were your fears? Like, how did you guys make the decision? Was it a conscious decision or did it happen? Like, just trying to like understand her perspective. And she's like, I don't know, because literally nobody ever asked her that in her
and consciousness
time.
was so different then.
Yeah.
Like collectively, but also I was just having this conversation with my neighbor because she was sharing her birth story with me, and I was shook to my core that I just had never heard any of this story before, and how like she almost died, and like it's like for millennia we're literally just like, yeah, women die in childbirth, like, but it's like,
no big deal. Don't talk about it too much.
Like,
it's not worth mentioning.
Complications? Like, what exactly happened? And it's like every movie you ever see where the mom dies in childbirth, it's like they died in childbirth. It's like that's the most vague fucking thing I've ever heard. If you're somebody who's actually navigating the birth portal, and I'm not saying that because it's like trying to scare you or anyone. It's just the intensity of the situation literally being life and death, like bringing in life and navigating that portal and being the sacred like vessel that is birthing that. It's always just so summed up. It's just so summed up with like the most nonchalant, and then you move past it and you forget, or it gets it doesn't get the reverence that it deserves. And then, like literally people don't remember. It's crazy. But okay. Anyways, let's move further down your journey. Was there anything, how is being pregnant, and how is like, I know you've had so many downloads and things happening and your baby communicating with you, and you've been really connected spiritually and intuitively. Like, I want to hear all about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so much to say, but I feel like one of the big karmic lessons, like I'm saying within this already, is that like the shadow work and the really challenging part for us came before making the decision to conceive. And then a lot of the things that have happened since we've been pregnant have been, especially about our pregnancies. There's been other things in our life that I feel like have been initiating us with our families and stuff like that. But with our pregnancy in general, I feel like everything has been so easy. And one of the big parts of our decision that was so hard is I just know how challenging, like it almost seems like impossible to go on this journey and get the support that you deserve. And you know what I mean? And so that part of it, like the struggle that I felt like I was signing up for, made it really hard for me to say yes to this journey. And I feel like part of my karmic healing is that since I've been pregnant, there's been so much ease and I felt really supported in a lot of ways around my physical birth. And one of those things is, our midwife that we're working with, like when I first found out I was pregnant, I wasn't exactly sure if I was going to do like a mixture of working with an OB and a midwife. Like I knew I wanted to do a home birth. But I wasn't sure like exactly, what kind of doctors I would go to and stuff like that. And so before we went to Bali, I was only a few weeks pregnant, like 4 weeks or 6 weeks or something like that. I was like calling around doctors, like, should I go to the doctor before I go to Bali and like make sure that I'm pregnant? Like, isn't that what you're supposed to do? And like calling the doctors, and it just all felt so wrong and like not my life and did not make me feel happy. And I was like realizing like, okay, I need to just really bring that same energy of alignment and my inner authority into like the decisions I make from the rest of the time. And ever since then, it's all just fallen into place so beautifully. Like my midwife that I'm working with here in Joshua Tree, I love her. And I feel so divinely supported by the universe that she came into my life, and that we live in this small rural town, but that she's here. I know like 10 friends who have worked with her and done their birth experiences with her. And it's just been so inspiring and empowering. Literally every time that I meet with her, I leave feeling like just so magical, and like it just feels so cool to be working with this woman that has so much wisdom, and to be working with a woman in general, and to never have to have gone to a hospital. Like even we did one ultrasound, we went to like a private ultrasound place so that I didn't have to go to a hospital. And it makes me so happy that I've been able to create my own version of what is right for me personally in this, and to feel so supported. And like in my midwife journey, she's like really big on testing. She does a lot of like urine testing every time I'm with her, and she makes me show her what I've been eating, and she looks at like my minerals and asks me about like my symptoms. And it's so fun to talk to her because I just really feel like she listens and cares and gets it, and has such empowering takes on every single thing that I've experienced that has been a little bit uncomfortable or challenging, like nausea, for example, in the first trimester. So it's been really, really magical, and I felt so supported, and I feel like it's been really healing, because like one of the big lessons that has just been coming in was that my fear and my mind built up so much more of the challenge and struggle than was actually here. And it was like the anticipation of those things were the part that I was subscribing to suffering within. And so much of my journey so far has been just proving to me that I can let go, and I can be trusted, and I can be supported, and that my body has so much innate wisdom. And so it's been a really special and beautiful journey. And I've had so many, like crazy dreams and connections to our daughter already. Like I can talk about them more in other episodes as we go, but like dreams where I've connected to her spirit so completely. A lot of spirit visits from my brother who passed away and my dad who passed away, and them being connected to our daughter. When we were in Bali, we did this really cool scalar sound wave experience where we went into this dome and they played these scalar waves, which are like a quantum, kind of like a sound wave, but they operate on different fields, and Tesla studied them. And so they're really kind of trippy. People don't know too much about them, but they play them into this space. And I had this profound experience connecting with our daughter's energy. And it was like we met outside of time, space, reality. And I just know her so deeply. She told me all of these specifics that she wants for our birth experience together. Like we talked about like sounds and colors and crystals and where they should be, and like all of this stuff. And so, it's been really, really special and magical. And of course, being pregnant, you're so hormonal. The emotional wave journey is amplified. Like Steffi and I, as Spirit Sis, we're talking, we both have the emotional wave that's run on expectations. And we're like, we need to talk about how to not expect while you're expecting a baby, because it's such a huge journey in that way. But honestly, mostly, I felt it's been such a beautiful journey, and I'm so grateful for the healing that's brought me in my own unique experience.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's so crazy. I think that and if you're listening and you're like, well, that hasn't been my experience, what's wrong with me? Like nothing. Like we're each choose our own lessons, and get what we're meant to get out of experiences in life in general. So if this episode is triggering for you in any way, just know that like the wisdom or the nuggets that you're meant to pull from this that feel supportive for you, that's what was meant for you. Like there's no judgment, there's no comparison, there's no like, something being better or worse. It is all just happening like as is, and it's not good or bad. So just kind of knowing, like, if you're like, you've been trying to conceive and you haven't been able to, or if you're having some sort of challenge and you are already pregnant or whatever it might be, that there is always some juice to squeeze from it. There's always some lesson. There's always some beauty to be pulled from that. And it does not, and it will not look how other people's journey looks. So I just wanted to really highlight that if you're listening and maybe you are comparing or judging. But it's interesting how in my pregnancy journey, I felt my biggest lessons were like the physicality of being human, and how my whole life was leading up to that lesson. And I'm still learning it. But it's getting a lot better. And I've just gotten so much out of that journey. But like, even at this time when you're pregnant right now, like my literal rib cage was separating like from my muscle,
broken from your body.
Yeah. And it's still numb. Like I still don't have any feeling in my ribs.
Yeah.
And so it's like and it was like forcing me to like literally be in my physical body. And I had so many physical things happening. And then you have all of this built up, like, oh my gosh, what's it gonna like be, preparing for that? And then having the like opposite side of that has been like a huge lesson in and of itself too, of like getting out of your mind and into your body, and into trust, and into being held, and letting support come in from the universe, from your guides, from the divinity of like life not having to be hard, or like that. There's just so much still, I think, the same lesson of like getting out of your mind and into your body, but just in such a different way. For me, more spiritually, for you more physically, but then opposite for me, more physically, and for you more spiritually. Like here we are once again, polarized but paralleled.
Yeah. And I mean, even like when our dads both passed away, that's such a huge thing to have in common, especially at such a similar age, and us being best friends, you know, like that's a huge similarity. Yeah. But I really recognized, you know, because my dad passed away first and then your dad passed away shortly thereafter. I really recognized in that experience that like, even though we experienced the same thing, I put in quotes, with our dad's passing, that our journeys were so different, and our experience of like their death portal and our relationship with them and everything leading up to it. Like it was a really light bulb moment for me, because I feel like what we tend to say is like, I know how you feel because I went through it. But it's like, yeah, maybe you went through it, but in your own unique way. We have our own karmic lessons. We have our own buildup. We have our own parts of tension and flow that are happening for you to teach you the exact lessons and help you experience what you're here to experience. And so like with birth as well, of course, you know, birth and death being mirrored and being echoed within each other has also always been such a huge theme in my life. And, you know, up until now, with my daughter coming into this world and navigating like the birth portal, you know, it's just like the death portal of the people I've known that have passed or who are getting older and will pass soon. Like it feels so interconnected to me. Like it's so clear that that transition from not being in a human body to being in a human body, it doesn't really exist in the singular way that we think it does. It's so multidimensional and infinite. But, you know, it's really, that's why I think like for anyone listening, no matter what your experience is, I encourage you to sit with it and to write out, like it's an amazing, beautiful journey, and like very valuable. The lessons that you'll learn around death, around birth, around choosing to conceive or choosing not to conceive, I think that they're very important and some of the most sacred things that we could be sharing with other people and diving into in our own lives. So yes, definitely whatever your experience is, I'd encourage you to not compare it to other people's, but to really dive into the magic that's there for you and the pain. And for me, the pain of like the choice of conception was very important. It was not something I could bypass. If I would have bypassed all of that, I would not be feeling the way that I'm feeling today. And I would not be experiencing the peace and alignment that I'm experiencing. Like there was no way out except for through for me with a lot of the shadows that I traversed then. So I think it's another.
Also like you're navigating so many other things and outside of your pregnancy journey that are like the divine timing of that as well. I think maybe is also a factor as to why, like, I almost feel like your baby and your body and your guides, like in this journey, are holding space for that too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, like one of the things as we're recording this, it's the new year. It's January 2nd as we're recording. But my dog, who we've had forever, my whole life, she's 15, my whole adult life, I've had her here, and she's been like my first little baby because she's a little Chihuahua, and she's been sick and she's passing away. And so in the last, like since Christmas Eve, Jared and I have been navigating her being in like her end of life. And it's been, it's just not something that we were expecting. Like we've always talked about like, what is she going to be like when we have a baby? Like she's going to be so jealous because she wants to be our baby and she sleeps in our bed and we hold and kiss her and rock her to sleep. Like she's going to be so jealous that we have a baby. And so we just really thought that we'd have like a year or two left of her life, even though she's older, because little dogs can tend to live longer. But, yeah, she's sick and she's going to pass soon. And it's just been really emotional for us because, it was unexpected. But once again, like I was saying, the death portal and the birth portal have always been interconnected in my life. And I feel like they always will be. And that's part of my karma to see those things. And part of what helps me be the best person I can be and evolve in the best way that I can be. But it's been really like, synchronistic, sacred, magical, as sad as I've been to like have to say goodbye to her, to be up with her in the middle of the night, literally like having a newborn child. Like we have to get up maybe 5 or 6 times in the middle of the night and like clean her up or take her potty or give her more medicine or rock her to sleep because she's like confused or whatever it is. And it's like the same thing as when you have a newborn where we're like, babe, it's your turn. And you're like one eye open and like turn on the light and you know what I mean? And so it's just so interesting how it feels like her exit is part of our divine timing and like the stars aligning. And I didn't know that piece of it. Like I didn't know that star was going to come into the alignment. And it's not something that I would have wanted or chosen, of course. But I've had a little bit more time now, like a week or two to integrate it and process it. And it feels so like makes so much sense, when we think about divine timing and divine alignment, and hasn't made it easier, but it's definitely been, it feels like another piece of the support in my life has been like her exiting and teaching us, like opening this birth death portal for us and teaching us what we need to know to be prepared.
Yeah, that's so beautiful and so heartbreaking. And also, yeah, I think everything you said, it's just all wrapped up into it. And it's just such a...
Are you proud of me that I didn't just cry while I was talking?
Yeah, I was like...
That is a world... I was trying so hard because you guys, if you ever met me in person at one of our retreats, you will know I am a bitch who cries.
Okay, but also you are also so closely connected and intertwined and like soul matched with your baby, your dog.
Yeah, she's our first baby.
Yeah, so this is huge transition, and yeah. I was like, did I force you to talk about that on here? But
no, it's good that I shared it. But I am proud of myself for not crying. But trust me. So this is like a fun fact about me. When I get sick, like if I have like food poisoning or stomach bug or something, I get sick at 100%. But for like
purged.
1 day. Yeah, purge everything inside of me. And then I'm like, I'm back, baby. And that's how I've been with pregnancy too. Like I was in this pattern for a while where like 6 days of the week I felt perfect, amazing, great. And then the 7th day I was like just a mess, like tears, hormones, tired, like, and I just had to be like, let it all out, cry all day long, cancel everything. And then the next day I'd be like, I'm back, baby. And with my dog and also with everyone I've known that's passed, like I really let myself fall into a blubbering hot mess. Like I really go there. Like go out. My favorite thing, since I have a defined route that's connected to my emotional center, I like go out and do like a trail run and run so fast until I like can't run anymore and fall to my knees and sob out into the desert. And it's so, dramatic. Literally, if anyone ever saw me, but it's what I have to do to do my energy hygiene and show up as my best self. Otherwise, I would be projecting that shit in crazy ways onto people who do not deserve it and have nothing to do with those emotions. So with my dog and mourning this chapter and having closure and stuff, like I've really given myself permission to be a hot mess and really, really, really cry. And I feel like it's my same process. Like I purge, I go all the way down. And then I feel so much more like peace and enlightenment around it, you know. But the hard thing was, this was all happening, like we almost had to put her down on Christmas Eve, and my whole family drove 8 hours to come visit us for Christmas, and it all happened like the day they were driving down. And I almost was like, turn around and go back. Like I literally asked them if they wanted to, and they're like, no, we are coming, we committed to coming to your house, we're coming to your house. So I had like 6 people staying in my house while we were going through this with our dog. And I was just a hot mess, like literally tears streaming, mucus streaming, like Merry Christmas. It was my brother's girlfriend's birthday on Christmas Eve. And so I'm like, happy birthday. Like it was just horrible, but it was a good lesson for me. And like healing perfectionism and like letting myself just be seen in my hot messness and knowing that it's totally normal, and you know what I mean? So anyways, being pregnant while all that happens, and it preparing you for the rawness of pregnancy and the vulnerability that you cannot hide, or you really shouldn't, you know, like allowing yourself to be vulnerable around the people who love you and want to support you, even if, you know, they're learning how to support you and they don't know in that moment. But anyways, I could go on forever about pregnancy, but I will not. We all want to hear now how Europe was for you. Are we going to do it, or are you
like, should I just save it for the next?
Should we save it for the next episode?
Yeah. I mean, why not? This is already an hour, and we can just do another episode where I talk about Europe
downloads, the initiation
journey. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. There. And for everyone listening, you'll just have to wait, like me, to hear how it's been for Shayna. Even though I've heard, of course, little pieces and talked to her in little bits, I am so excited to hear your downloads and your whole experience about it. I know on the spiritual sleepover, the last one we did with Spirit Sis, we got into like the astrocartography of some of the places you were traveling. I think it's a really fascinating topic because so many of us are called to experience those different energies when we travel. So I think it's going to be really cool to dive into that in more depth.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, it's like almost spilling out of me right now that I'm like, should we keep going? But at the same time, like I just looked and my baby is still not asleep for her nap. I just looked at her baby cam. And so I know that my husband's inside struggling to try to get her to sleep. And part of me wants to just be like, that's fine. Like he can struggle a little, and that's the bitter side of me. And then the other part of me is like, no, I should probably go and help and save this for another episode. So yeah, there's a lot to share, but I'm really excited. The episode will come out soon. We'll record it in a few days. And I'm excited for everyone who's going to join us in Palm Springs in a month.
In-person retreat training. Like this is the shit we live for. Dance party, circles, being under the stars. We have our own private pool, our own private outdoor fire pit. We're going to have yoga classes in the morning. We're going to go deep into just the nerdy, like absolutely fascinating. The content that we're sharing in this retreat training is fascinating, and we have never shared it before. So it's going to be really powerful. We can't wait. And we have a lot of people who are interested already, who have filled out interest forms for this event, which is why we've been moving forward with it. So definitely, if you know that you're meant to be there, mark your calendars for January 10th. We decided at 10 a.m. Pacific, we're going to open the doors because we are expecting it to sell out fast. But like Shayna said in the beginning, please email us if you don't get a ticket, because we will try to open up a wait list, and we have a good option option to potentially open a few more spots. So we cannot wait to see who comes together with this. I just feel like it's going to be so nourishing, like exactly what we all need to come together and to dive into this like really fascinating vortex and be in that space together, to connect together, to network, to share ease. And 2026, I mean, I talked about in the beginning it being a 1 year, but what we haven't talked about is the fact that it's also the year of the fire horse. And it's a year where boldness and movement and courage, like it's the opposite energy of last year, the year of the snake, which was also very internal, like the 9-year spiritual. It was about closure. It was about subconscious. It was about learning lessons. This year that we're moving into, 2026, is about freaking going for it. There is so much energy supporting us all and having that movement, that boldness, friendships aligning, just energy that's really exciting. So it's a really great time to say yes to your wildest dreams and to invest in the person that you want to become and to invest in movement in your life, taking that aligned action, not just dreaming about it. So whether you come to the retreat or not, I'm just really excited for all of us to delve into those energies. But of course, everyone that comes to the retreat, we cannot wait to share space with you in person, to hug you, to share together, to learn together. It's going to be epic.
Thank you for tuning in with us today. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to follow along and learn more about human design.